Good morning. Good morning, pajama traders. Welcome back. That's a pretty good song there. That's the fan favorite right there. Some purity ring. All right. Uh boys, yesterday we were buyers. We decided not to be pussyfoot in the day. We we had to buy a couple times. The low was not given to us. I just want to start it from there and then look at where we are now and see. Again, we're not going to be we're not going to be hindsight Nancy's. This was in the moment we take the decision. We're getting paid for it this time. Well, again, things change. Probability was on our side though. Let's talk a little bit about the swing here, where it looks like it's going today. Some interesting pre-market action. Okay, we start to sell. We've got Yellen talking about interest rates. Yields were being a little funky. There was definitely some bond villains out there. 2 year was rising. We were up like 16%, while long terms were actually dropping in yields. This is important because again, the 2 year is sort of the Fed sensitive. It's sort of the, if we want to use some more biological understanding. Actually, let's not go that far. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not going to use any sort of disgusting sexual references here, but the 2 year is the sensitive part of the bond market for the Fed. That caused some selling on the growth side. It's important to realize that we haven't seen that in a long time, since March, right? The beginning of March, when we were going through that period uh, of this consolidation here, where we were just yield scare every day, right? Yield scare every day with inflation. We finally got through. What was that? I don't know. We're gonna have to find out together what exactly the reason was. I mean, you can say that there's a rotation further into value, but there's plenty of money to be spent. So we don't really know the cause. And that's where this is how, for instance, if you go, how did we profit off of this move? This is where you don't go on Twitter and you don't go look for stories and you don't make up your own opinion of why something is happening and why you should do something. You instead look at the price, and that should tell you why you should do something. A lot of people here probably get pretty damn scared to do anything and sold on a low when things whipped back, even intraday, they whipped back. This wasn't even a wait. We, on growth, we whipped back. Not very much. It's still down. What's important is the dirty Dow. The dirty Dow, we did get rotation to value. Now, again, we're going to talk about growth a little bit because we did take those mega caps on the lows and those are up. They're looking decent, right? But this is where, when we're buying and we go, we have the market coming down over 2% on the NASDAQ. Everything's coming down together because everything is going to travel with the average. Whether there was an inflow this whole time coming into value, it's just the timing, right? There's a timing error there. And so what do? We're adding on, right? So a lot of what I wanted to do was add on to the value side. Again, it's about 90% of my portfolio. There's not much. Again, it's a straight line on the value side. There's no reason not to. We got the X trade yesterday. Steel really popped off. Again, commodities going through the super cycle. I added the CLF chart as well. Just again, I'm sure some of you traded that yesterday as well in conjunction with X. That chart again looking very good as well. But we took this industrial and sort of commodities approach with things like healthcare and continuing through sort of the sectors on value with energy and banks, right? And those were givens. And when you look at the Dow, I mean, this is disturbing to look at. I mean, it hurts. It's going to hurt some people's souls to look at this chart. This is the Dow. The Dow does not move, right? The dirty Dow coming back here. It didn't put any points on the day. We were up like 10 basis points. It's the fact that it didn't lose anything. You didn't lose a damn thing. You're actually up, right? When, again, the NASDAQ, it swung back. It swung back, but it's not very much, right? But still, this is pretty scary. What do? We saw trendline support across the entire market. S&P, NASDAQ, everything basically had it coming in at the same point. We bought on the first trend line here, bought on the second one as well. You don't lose confidence even if the first time it doesn't work. This is paying off. We're up it's almost 1% on the NASDAQ this morning so far. That's going to change, obviously. But the thing to remember here is we're rated all-time high still. And so no matter what the reason was, it doesn't change anything besides the time, right? No value was lost. Portfolios maybe were rotated a little bit, right? Certainly, certainly more uh, of this value side got put on. We saw that. Now, where we saw some losses come in on the growth side beyond sort of mega caps will be interesting to see how those perform. I didn't touch anything on like this, when we talk about we were looking at a lot of the different software companies and in these different ideas, right? These kind of small game stuff. I'm not going to go try to buy on a low when I have no clue what's happening, right? I can go confidently buy a mega cap and go, listen, I mean, I can get out of this if I need to. And it's a chance worth taking if the price is going to come up tomorrow, which again, it is here. So it's worth it there. What do we do? And again, this is coming from our bias of being buyers right now. And again, this line I keep using, the best day to enter was yesterday. The best day to enter was yesterday. If you bought yesterday, you're probably can sleep through today, and then you can come, or maybe you can come back in the afternoon and I'll tell you what happened during the day, right? That's where we are. So this bid that came in at close continued after hours. If you look at where we are this morning, we're continuing here the bid. S&P is rated all-time high. The Dow is all-time high. The NASDAQ is going to be interesting, so we'll watch those mega caps this morning really closely. Now, look at the pre-market action. We have some significant gains coming through, continuing, and in some areas that are going to be interesting. Now, the Z trade, I took this yesterday. I want to make sure it's clear that this was, again, it's up on earnings, but it's kind of a joke to be like, oh yeah, I'm just taking it because, yeah, you get the points because of earnings, of course, but we took this trade because we've been trying to enter this trade, and it's tied as a service provider to the home building side, which we've been doing very well on. There's an obvious lag here, and this is certainly more on a growth sort of scale, and this is with COVID winners. Now, we've been trying to get COVID winners. Now, I took the Zoom trade and the Etsy trade, and those did not do very well. This here, we're getting some points from the earnings. We'll see how this continues. It's not clear, right? And so trades like this is exactly the kind of trades that you don't want to be putting all your capital onto a dumb trade like this. This I took because the technical with the trend line, this is not a good earnings bet, and it's just not a good trade if you only have a few trades you can make. You should not be only making trades like this, right? And when you start to go through the different sort of areas, right? I try to go take like a chart, a trade like this, a Zoom on the low, didn't work. Etsy on the low, we'll see what happens, right? These kind of ideas are not, you should not be doing this if you're not already fully positioned through the major sectors of banks are a given. And if you don't have banks, then you're wasting your time. Energy has been pretty damn consistent. Healthcare has been probably the easiest trade of your life. And again, if you're not touching those, then you might as well not be touching anything because you're going to have a really hard time, first of all, beating any average if you're not beating the thing that is right in front of you. And again, this, I think someone made a comment, I think I saw, maybe it was you, Ecto, talking about, you're waiting for an opportunity to buy here. Again, the best day to enter was yesterday. You can buy when it's trending. There's support on these, and it's important to remember this concept of just, let me throw a couple trend lines in here. This is a support the whole way. And when we get these pullbacks, what happens? You transpose this trend line and bring it back over here, right? And then now you're on this trend line. Same with within here, right? And it's now you can wait for this pullback, but think about the points here. It's not very much, and you're not taking a short-term trade anyway. So the probability of you buying at the top here, right? You're buying at the top right when it's about to pull back is very low. You're actually very low. Ecto says not me. Okay, yeah, it wasn't you. I'm just calling out anybody, The likelihood that you're buying at the top candle here before it pulls back is very low. And if you did, and again, the reason is that because there's a lot of green here, right? And this is not just for Anthem here. This is just for this sector and the way these trend charts are. You have a lot of green here. The likelihood that this yesterday was going to be the all-time high, let's say, is pretty damn low, or at least in this pullback. So you should always be taking these when you can, and you're taking a trade again. You want your money always working for you. You should always have the money in, and this should always be trending. There shouldn't be pressure on a trade like this, and that's how I felt with the bank side, right? I don't feel that, and I mean, this yesterday, I talked about this. If you go look, we know everyone's buying back. And what do you think the mega caps did for growth? We'll get there, but look what the banks did. This is Bank of America, and now I have some experience here on this side. This is a buyback. This right here is a buyback. See how quickly this escalated out of here, out of the low? And if you look at this here, this is this bid here, which we also saw in some other charts where something like spot, for instance, I'm going to get to growth here in a second, but when you see this bid come in immediately, when the market was still coming down, is a very good example of when you know something's coming in because you have some trader at one of these companies, right? You have some traders that are specifically on the side that does the buyback. And I was joking about like the one dude on the Apple trade desk that's figuring out how to fucking buy back, right? He's going, I don't know, the dip's coming in, let's buy it, right? This is a good example of that coming in, and then you hold the brakes. And I talked about the spread where you take off the periodic order, you push it, right? This sort of thing, it's all over the market. Where everywhere you look, not so much on the spot side, but again, this sort of price action here. And we'll see how these move. Excuse me, shop. Sorry, on the shop side where you get this bid. This is a good signal, even though this came back down, that you're going to be coming out of here. So I can take this trade and feel comfortable when this comes down. Even on the stream yesterday, I was like, oh shit, we're actually coming out of this. We were coming out of this pretty quick. That obviously didn't happen. But anything that had support did pretty well, right? Now, taking a look at the big boys, right? Some of this is a little bit, again, you're a little bit, I would say, slower paced. But if we look at where we are now, we're being very technical on a lot of the mega caps. Now, these are the trades that I took on the growth side. Now, again, these are your sort of your taking risk and chances that we're looking to get those points in a sort of quicker manner. When you look across the board, there's no guarantee that we continue from here. What I would say is that if you took any of these are certainly, you better stop me out trades. There's no trying to time this. It either continues or it doesn't, and that's it. There's no playing the game here where you get to, you go, well, oh well, I tried to take it and I got some points and I'll just take profit. And again, unless of course you just went, oh shit, I could have bought X yesterday instead, and you know you're going, well, I didn't even realize that V word you keep using, you meant that thing and not the other thing. I thought you meant if you want to buy it, you can buy it. No, you should be buying all of this shit well before you even think about trying to catch something that's fucking plummeting for no reason, right? Again, these things are two completely different trades, and it should come from a risk management point first before it becomes a risk taking and gambling sort of side of you that wants to do all that, right? You should be building a portfolio that is, it doesn't need to be specifically safe, but it shouldn't be in such a thing that you have no idea what may happen day to day, right? It should be trending, slower, and build up quite a bit of your cash, right? It should be a significant portion of your money is just well positioned. Some people need to use shares, right? Some of you with a significantly more capital have to use shares. Some of you have switched to shares to be a little bit, more defensive. Protect your downside before you go fucking chasing for the stars and chasing momentum and trying to buy things that we don't know, right? What we do know is when something's trending, it's likely to continue trending, right? The market goes up. We know these things, but we don't know the time, right? We lose time, not volume. Things like this are a little bit, it's very straightforward. In the moment, we want to take every chance we can, of course, right? And so, obviously, here yesterday, my whole thing was, okay, all my positions look pretty good here, and we just basically were playing with tech, getting stopped out of tech, selling tech, and trying to catch the next tech move, right? Today's going to be interesting. Again, this just happened. We're still right there, right? We're still right here, so there's still more to be played with here, and there's still questions that are unknown, right? We don't know. And if you look, let's not, impulsive corrective breaks. That's not what we want. Thank you, though. The bond market hasn't budged this morning at all. We're going to have to see if this is a connection that matters. Now, Europe is coming off of their lows yesterday. We'll see how that does. I mean, London was basically break even yesterday. It just had a little bit of selling, and now it's doing pretty well. That's good for the value side, right? They're just copying us, right? Copycats. Now, Asia was kind of just reacting to us negatively because they're all tech, right? We're going to have to see how this goes. And again, this is tied to the dollar a little bit. There's definitely some rumbling over here in terms of reaction. There was no safe haven or anything like that. No one exited the equity market. And so I would like to see from the open here a lot of buying on at least the mega cap side, which again, sort of that move from yesterday would signal that. But really, we need to know what that means in terms of getting back into the all-time high, whether that was a healthy move to travel to the all-time high on the growth side, or whether or not yesterday was a sort of pivot point towards the rotation to value, right? And maybe this understanding that, okay, we got the points out of growth, let's fuck off here and go buy the thing that is going to actually react to inflation. And we don't have to sit here and worry about interest rates and anything that happens with the Fed maybe changing up the bond buying and the surprise that may come that we don't know when the economy is going to be, the economy's booming, but we don't know when mandates are going to be met so that the Fed can do something, right? There's some questions still out there. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. And I think the discussion really comes to, you can buy all these different things that are going to do well because of inflation. But then when you look through the tech companies, it's really just the FANG stocks and Tesla that stand out. The rest are kind of, they don't really so much matter. They're just kind of fluff. They're there, right? They're only moving because of the rest. The earnings we've seen, it doesn't really matter. It's only was the mega cap earnings that mattered. Those positively reacted, the rest negatively reacted, even though the rest of them had very positive earnings, right? And so I would say everything still runs through the mega caps on that side. And that can make things, it sucks taking those trades at any point. And I've talked about this, even making the profit on the last move. We're going to have to sort of follow it and see how much do we want to play around with that. Or again, here yesterday, I sort of doubled down on the value side and just loaded up on those positions. It's more consistent, makes more money right now, and that's what everyone's buying, right? That's what everyone wants to buy. If all we have is mega caps on the tech side, then it's just a long position. You just sit there, right? Apple's going to go up, right? It'll go up eventually. You just sit there. So again, it's hard to know exactly what your decision should be here because there's no ideas. It's just when the price pulls back, you buy it, and that's it. It's not tied to any of these things like the rest of them, right? Banks are tied to the fact that interest rates may increase. Inflation's coming. It's going to cause value. It's going to cause the money to increase. They have the ability to take cash. They can take the deposits they get and tell their clients to switch it over to their ETFs, right? And we have sort of these feedback loops. Industrials are getting paid by the federal government. We got $4 trillion coming in, right? There's a lot of different things. None of that affects tech other than they're just going to keep getting bloated. They consume everything. Google acquires companies every single day, right? That's all these companies do. There's just nothing else there. They're going to be consistent, right? I think we should continue to focus. And I feel like yesterday really showed, and if you didn't believe in just playing through the Dow and the value side, then yesterday should have really, changed your mind if you didn't think that, especially if you were in those tech positions, trying to be sort of tricky, playing short terms in here. Again, I said don't be playing the day trade game or trying to take these short terms, switch to the long term. A day like yesterday would have wiped you completely out. There's plenty of people that got wiped out yesterday for no reason, right? It's going to probably come back here today, tomorrow, and people are going to feel they're probably going to stop trading, right? And that's like what a time to start. If you started, your first day was yesterday and you bought it open, or if today was your first day and you buy it this open, right? What a difference that is. And we're only talking about one day, and it doesn't matter in the overall, right? This is where when you look at the weekly, I want to show this for anyone that wasn't here. You take a look at these charts. Look how silly this looks. Doesn't it seem really silly that we care what happens sort of day to day? This is a weekly chart. This is the dirty Dow. It's all-time high, and this basically had no movement. No movement towards the downside. Anything that's went to the downside that looks very viable. When you look over here, right? Even when we look at this again, let me just turn this off. When you look at this here, even week to week on the NASDAQ is not bad, right? This is going to amount to basically nothing. This is quite literally just yesterday's candle. This at the end of the week, we're going to come check this on Friday. At close, we'll come check the weekly NASDAQ. Let's go see what this candle looks like at the end of the week. If that's a long wick right here and the body comes back up here on that candle, this can be a pretty damn bullish candle, right? And it's going to, again, it turns this into, how many of you are going, oh, weekly flag right here? That's a nice flag right there, right? Of course, everything's trading one way, right? These are opportunities. Take them. Yesterday, if you took your opportunity being a buyer, you just got paid, right? You got paid at the close. And into today, no matter what you traded, right? You got to take those chances. You have to take them. Again, the moments, they don't... There's not always a moment, right? And depending on your time and what you're doing, when you have money to trade something, sometimes you're stuck in a position so you don't have cash to go buy something at a time. You know, it depends, but this was definitely a chance yesterday, I would say. Just like when we get the growth buyout, again, when everything's trending towards the upside and it doesn't really amount to anything, it's on these days that we can actually do something, right? It gives you a chance to go buy here, because the difference of buying here as opposed to buying at the high is significant on the option side. Because when people are selling and scared, you're getting a discount, right? And you definitely saw that. And who knows when the next opportunity is, right? This has been a month. It's been a month since you got a chance on the growth side. Even on all the other sides, there hasn't been a pullback, so you've had to buy on that trend line. That's like, somebody did say that we'll wait for the pullback. It's like, well, when's the pullback? Do you know when the pullback is? Did anyone know when the growth pullback was here yesterday? Of course not, right? You don't know. And so if you're just sitting there waiting for something, it's probably not going to happen, right? You just need to take initiative, do something, stop whatever fucking story you're telling yourself, right? That, oh, well, it just wasn't meant for me. I chose the wrong one today, T. Okay, we're getting towards individual tickers now. T. This move yesterday is very cute, right? I've been talking about this move a little bit. There's something on the communication side, and however you want to call these companies, right? With sort of satellites, sort of the phone companies, cable companies. They're called AT&T for a reason. There's a lot of letters. They may be AT&T and T&T, right? This movement is really silly. Really silly. This is when the market's coming down yesterday. You had this. Now, we've been expecting something like this because we continue to get this order here at open, right? Whatever's going on over here, right? It's something to definitely be a part of. Now, if you look at the AT&T chart, it's never put points on. It's been negative since it started trading, right? It's a negative chart. It pays dividends, and we joke about it, right? So for us, we have to operate in these swing areas. From our standpoint, if we just look at it as price, this is very different price action compared to the norm. Ever since I charted it back here, right? It's been very different price action. If you don't think something's going on here, then you might be reading too many stories. There's definitely something here. Look how disconnected this is, right? You get the earnings gap, but then the price action here with the whip, this continuation of a trend here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some M&A coming up, which, again, how do you profit off that? I think you just sit in this. You just sit here, and that's it. I don't know if there's anything else to do, right? You look at the difference between something like TMUS is like the most direct. It's the complete opposite of yesterday. This kind of thing, I think, shows that obviously there's more to that chart, right? More to that chart. So I'm going to be watching that carefully and just sitting in it, right? So keep your eye on that. I want to talk about this bio thing a little bit more. We've been very bullish on healthcare. We added in the bio play on a longer term scale instead of just the cheeky swing every few days sort of bio play. This year, with Moderna, I've talked about this play a lot. This price action yesterday, I did basically the exact same thing that I thought of over here. You sit here and hold. And now it's up, again, 3% here. That's the historical sort of, again, comeback here. This We're going to need to see. Again, I just talked about this. This is at the high here. If this comes back, test the high again, we'll get to see. Again, my question is, if are we going to push into all-time high, and what the hell for, right? And there's obviously some big idea things here. Whether or not we're getting, this is, again, when you look at a chart like this, there's zero reason for this to go past this high, because we've already priced in everything that they're going to be doing for this vaccine, sort of with COVID. If these prices go past, which I do think there is, then there's definitely something brewing in terms of government funding for preemptive sort of whatever it's going to be, R&D, or just sort of some sort of program that is going to be sort of uh, collecting sort of these companies to be ready for the next crisis, whatever it is. And if that's direct funding, then that would definitely mean this is going to be worth a lot more, right? That's direct. We see it with industrials. This is going to be really interesting. And again, this average pushed these things down yesterday, so it's hard to tell what exactly is going on. But we should be able to operate this space a little bit better than others, because again, we can be a little bit quicker. So I'm going to be watching the entire sort of that entire side of things, and see if we catch back up quickly, and if we do pass through the high, because I thought we were going to do that until yesterday sort of happened. So it's important to remember that just because this candle came in doesn't mean we're not watching for the same thing. So keep that in mind for sure. The last thing, clean energy. Who knows? Who knows, right? It's been disgusting across the whole board on anything clean energy wise. It's got worse yesterday, right? Got worse yesterday. I've talked about we're not touching it, right? I charted things out. We were looking to take things on breakouts. Nothing happened. We've basically ignored it. We're now getting into an area that you're talking about sort of a situation like, is this going to even happen? Because this is a pretty damn low point, right? There's, again, I wouldn't spend money on this as in terms of opportunity cost. We can make money somewhere else, right? But this is going to be sort of a problem to solve that whoever solves it is going to make some probably significant money from it, right? And so when we look at these, we're going to continue to watch sort of what happens on the clean energy side. Obviously, the current energy is working a lot better, right? Even just oil. So it's going to be important to see what exactly happens with that, because it's pretty down there. It's in the dumps, right? It's in the dumps. So we'll see. Makiza says, "Are we buying tea finally?" That was a month or two ago. So that flag chart, and then we've been trading it the last 2 weeks here. The last 2 weeks, we got the gap, and then this is where this week we've been watching the rumblings. When the Nasdaq is down almost 3% and tea is up 1.5% in the first 20 minutes, you know something's wrong. Valued out of my mind. All right, let's see what we get. Let's see if we get bid in. Again, we're rated all-time high. We're literally right there. So things can get toasty here for sure. Get a little toasty. The sum is already up. EYH 5.5. Yikes. We had, again, retail stores from Monday. Those of you, any of you that weren't here for Monday. Monday was retail stores. We blew it out of the water, right? Put those trades on from Friday. There was some game theory from institutions not buying from Wednesday's economic numbers. Bought Monday. We captured that. We should be continuing to find those. You got ideas, throw them out there. If there's price pulling back when it should technically be going to the upside, then it might be, again, this sort of, the water going out into the ocean, and then we get the fucking waves coming in. There's been a lot of that. This could be the same thing, right? This coming out and going back. It's healthy to have that. Not when it's so surprising on tech, but on those other sectors. Again, things like semi. I think the semi thing definitely got really thrown off from yesterday. I mean, we bought this, but look at our buy now. And I taught, like, you can see the line we drew from yesterday. The idea is here, we bought here, and now we bought here. What's better? Well, this is significantly lower, so we got a discount. Now the timing is different, but you just bought for quite the discount across the board, right? So we picked up all semis yesterday. I know a lot of you bought those yesterday as well. We've been really banging our head against the wall in this trade, and this might be one that doesn't work out, right? We have this tech sort of sell off from yesterday that directly affects something that we're trying to do off of a different idea. That has nothing to do with tech, right? We're trying to go supply chain on the semis because of their importance and try to catch this off of a low. Is this our low? I would really hope so. I would hope so. If this is not our low, then we're really fucking wrong. And by we, I mean me, right? So, really wrong if this is not the low this time. So, I would say that's a little bit of a gift there, right? A little bit of a gift. So, we'll see. Dow taking back to break even here. What do we got here? Look at these moves. We get some silly moves up here. Hold on. This is beautiful right here. Beautiful. Casinos. We just talked about this. We just put these positions on again. That's what you like to see right there. That's the kind of stuff you like to see. Again, this consumer side, we know it got mispriced a little bit, and yesterday did not help. Yesterday did not help. By the way, here you go. If this does not help with the idea that there's something on the communication side, I don't know what will. You've got this candle here from yesterday, and then this move here coming through the earnings and everything else. That side is silly. Again, there's no right or wrong way to play M&A. Like, if there's going to be a merger or someone's buying, usually you want to buy the company that's being bought, but on that side, I don't know if it matters. AT&T has been acquiring companies for years, and it's just caused it to go down. So, who knows? Who knows? I'm going to see here. Far with the earnings jump. How much are we technically? We're 75 basis points from the high on the SPY. Nasdaq, what are we at? Just under 3. Dow is obviously right at all. What I want to watch for again is the buyback. We should be able to see in the data. This is very close. It's very close. It's pretty close. I would, again, that candle that we got at the end of the day, we got about 0.5% in 3 minutes or so on the whole market. I mean, a little bit of buying there, huh? Some BBs. We love green days, don't we? Again, you should be buying on the red day for the green day that comes after, right? Buy the red for the green. This is also, again, we're watching these fintech moves. I don't think anyone in the market really knows how exactly we're pricing these companies that are taking on Bitcoin. It's really hard to tell. Now, again, we have a lot of different things happening on this side. Now, there was a reaction with tech selling yesterday with Bitcoin, which we have seen some correlation between the market in this space. But again, this is losing market share. It's less than 50% of the crypto market now, with fucking Ethereum blasting out of its mind, which also reacted to tech yesterday. This coming back today, it's basically a historical retrace. So we'll see what comes from here. Again, whether or not this is coming back here. That candle yesterday was not great. So again, my rationale here is that Ethereum is completely fueled by the derivative market with NFTs, because you have to buy fucking Ethereum to go buy that shit. So it's pushing this price up, and switching it back and forth causes this to continue to increase for transactions every time a transaction happens, right? Is there a certain time frame the companies have to do the buyback, or is it random? They can only do a certain amount I guess technically, but no, there's no. They can do it any way in which shape they want. Like they could just at any moment be like, "Hey, let's buy some," and they you won't know until they release earnings and they tell us, or you know, one of the primes that they're buying from. Like Apple will call up Goldman and be like, "Listen, we want to buy X amount. Buy it over the next week. Buy it over the next 2 days, whatever it is for the amount, and that's it." They don't. It's not like, "Hey, I want to buy it $69.69 at 10 o'clock. Can you do that?" They just kind of go, "Hey, we want 10 million shares." And that's what I've been talking about very recently is we're looking through level 2 for those periodic orders. And again, that's not it it doesn't really matter, but or for like retail side, and it's because you don't most people don't understand how that process works anyway. The way that works is that there's literally people at institutions that work one of those accounts and are doing those orders every single day. And they're putting it in, and it's again, you don't really know how to look for it in level 2, and you can really get on some tangents if you think you found something, but it's just these fucking orders, right? Which is the whole market anyway. The whole market is built up on that. So, and 50% of the market's in dark pools anyway. So how do you know? So yeah, we don't really know, but we try to find that stuff because again, are there buybacks here? Where is Google's buyback? Right? If you go look, where's their buyback? It's really easy to find it, right? I know you can't see it because it's fucking screen, but it's really easy to find it, right? Stands out, stands out, stands out, right? I really wonder, right? They didn't care. They literally didn't care what price they were buying at. They put the the order hits the exchange and it just goes, right? It's different every time. So. Yeah, we'll see how many more we get. Again, I think the best example. This is the best example. BRKB. I mean, it's easily the best example. You see how this is a straight line? Yeah, that's called the old Berkshire buyback. What do you do when you have how much is it? I think they had 100 and they Buffett said they had 150 billion, 150 billion dollars of cash. 150 billion. Zero Bitcoin, by the way. Of course they're buying back. They have literally nothing else to do with the money. Like they can't even invest it. They don't even have companies to buy. They could buy fucking Uber with that money. The whole thing for the price right now. Right? They have nothing to do with it. So you drive your price up. And then you do an offering and no one cares. The price keeps going up. Keep raising capital. Never ending cycle. Twitter's still down the dumps. We'll see if that comes in. Again, some of these other tech companies. We'll see. We'll see how some of these that gap down from earnings react. I think it'll be important. UP. More auto parts coming through. We'll see if that sector comes in here. Moderna coming back down. Going to be watching this carefully, right? Watching this carefully. Because again, it's not... Again, we're just reacting to price. I have an idea here. Does not mean it's going to be true. The Etsy coming up to low, but this candle's wild. We'll see what happens here. All of Energy continuing to do well, up 1% on the day. Banks back to break even, but we had a very, very hot day yesterday. X holding value here is great. This is great. Again, you shouldn't be taking profit on that move yesterday. Some of you might have taken profit on your Fridays. If you took that on Friday because we were up 25%, which I think was... I think the average on the calls was over 300% for anything you would have bought from Friday. So I'm guessing some of you probably took that. I'm just going to continue here until the price pulls back because it's pretty quick. We get these swings really quick on X recently, right? Now, this may be the one where we just go. That's why I doubled it up yesterday, right? Doubled it up on the pullback. It's there's no way to guess the top here or timing, which means you can't take profit because you literally don't know. You can say you never know, but you actually have no clue when it's in the middle of a rally. You're not in a trend. You're in a rally, in a breakout. So you wait, right? You wait until that momentum stops because it's going to be obvious, right? You're going to be jumping off a building there. Dow, we pushed into all-time high briefly, and it looks like we're about to climb back in there. Now, when we go look at these, it's sort of built up by some of the tickers that have been being beat up. Nike, for instance, right? We know Nike's been getting beat up. It's coming out of the low. There's a lot of points here to the high. Now, Apple, Microsoft, obviously. This cat trade, great so far, right? This is great here. This coming out of these industrials, it's just sort of a mess. But we know that if it comes out of the high, it turns into a very strong rally. So we're right there again testing. Obviously, the others just continue to go. They're one-way charts. Watching Verizon, of course, with again these are we just talk about them in the same way. So Verizon and T, we talk about them in the same way. This communication side certainly continuing to go. Now, I talked about this Honeywell trade. Now, I took this trade back here. It's been the exact same trade, and it's gained all the way to yesterday. And yesterday put new volatility on. And so if you've sat in these trades, you get the points here. This is a very nice trade so far, and this is exactly what happens on the Dow companies. Look at these candles. They're terrible. Terrible. It's just a mess, right? And that's where you hold through this with the long term, and you gain through every single day here, right? This is looking good so far. I mean, this year you don't know anything yet, so see what that turns into. Salesforce is terrible still. Terrible. Why is it in the Dow? Who knows? Who knows? PG, I'm still still here. This is, again, we're going to need to see what happens here. How exactly this pricing is going to work. It's really not clear, so we'll see. See if BA comes back from yesterday as well. The GE side is a little bit better, but it's just holding the support. Again, I talked about this a little bit. LMT, we'll see if this is turning into anything. This trade has been very nice so far. It's almost impossible to tell on intraday. So you're gonna kind of need a whole daily candle here on some of these. See what that turns into. Not seeing anything yet, so I'm talking over everything. 15 minutes. We'll see what happens more towards 10. INTC hasn't really moved. Again, we got this. We took all these semis at the low yesterday. We'll see what this turns into. I would definitely like to see it catch back up before. Again, buying on here is one thing, but the timing you don't know. That's the problem. So it's like you could be up 2% here on Intel from yesterday's low on the underlying, but you actually are more likely the longer you're in here you're gonna get some probability here that it's gonna come down. Right? You don't actually know how it continues. So we'll see if we get the low. I would really hate to have. I mean, I don't think I'd buy it again. I don't think I'd buy any of the low trades again. I mean, Intel's obviously terrible comparatively to. I mean, AMD and Intel are both the bearish comparatively. UMC we've done some shenanigans with here, but I'd still say this is much more bullish than those. But this move here is just difficult. It's really difficult. These numbers are just spooky. Look at this. EVRI, we're testing this again, but this is I mean, what do you think this is? Where's the flag boys at in chat? There you go. What just happened? What was that? Wow. Thank you, Trader. Like some technical difficulties on their side. There you go. That's quite the move. Now, this has already been quite the move. Oh, I deleted. Hold on. Okay. You can see it. Casinos, boys. Casinos. Now, we took that win trade yesterday as well. We'll see how this space plays off. Again, the travel side is it's just so short-term vol that we just have to technically trade it no matter what idea we have. This here is really interesting, I think, because these are all on the smaller side of things. The scale, it's all the small scale stuff that's putting points, and you know, where again, this is a great trade so far, but I don't want to put too much on it, right? Put too much on it because we're just back to where we were. Let's see how these travel plays sort of react, because it's one thing to be taking the swings here, but it's not consistent. If we can get all the points here on this trade, that'd be going to the win this weekend, boys. This is the start. Yo, MGM does. This is a little bit better. And we've seen this, the opposite of this, on other tickers, right? This channel. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. It's trading within that range. It's so much easier to trade when we know the range, right? When you have a sort of a volatility gauge of how much it could possibly move one way or another, and you can see it on the underlying. You don't have to use options, and you're looking at IVs, and it's like, oh, so it could possibly move 20% in the next 5 days. Oh, that's very helpful. Thank you. And then nothing happened. You go, okay, what was the point? BRKB is definitely buying more. Definitely buying more. Or again, everyone's just buying value right now, and it's hard to tell the difference, but a funny chart. We've really transcended the meme stocks. By the way, where is it's close. It's very tight range on SeaWorld. We'll see. It's almost there. We'll get it on the break. You can't preempt that one. Get on the break. Disney is garbage. Can't believe this play's not working. People are waiting until earnings for some reason. I guess no one really knows because they opened so early. Fucking Florida. Psychopaths. I guess we'll find out if them opening early was worth it on earnings, right? We'll find out. But and that's the thing, is you can tell by that Disney price action that it's quite literally all about the travel and not about Disney Plus in the numbers. You can tell, because if it was, then that chart would be going up, wouldn't it? It's not. It's not. Why did Netflix gap down? Because they only had 2 million, right? They added 2 million subscribers in the last quarter, and it gapped down because it wasn't 2.5 million. Then why didn't Disney gap up, right? Because it's not trading on Disney Plus, not trading on that at all. And that's how you can go, oh, that idea is not going to work. Yes, it's a part of it, but no one's trading it for that reason, right? And that's a big difference, where when you do have an idea like that and then it doesn't pay, important to see the difference. The chemical side, I wish we knew what exactly, because I continue to trade this. We're trading DOW, which is the Dow company, not the index. We're trading the Dow chemical. We're trading GPRE. We have a few different things we're looking at. There's no ETF actually, so we're just kind of looking at company wise. What's going on? What is this chemical shit? Anybody know? Are we just creating wealth here? Taking the lower valued asset chemicals, making them higher valued assets, or what? We're up in the chemical game. Walter Whiting the shit out of these charts. GE coming out of here. I'd love to finally get this one. I think the problem is here, we should actually add the new line in here. I've been using this 1336 here, but really it's the top of the ranges over here, right? Right over here. Let's throw that in. That's we're kind of looking at this chart wrong. Kind of want to put a range in here, put it with these wicks here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Use this range from 61 to 68. We'll look at that. I think we need to get up there first before we talk. But I'd like to get from here to there. It's only 4%, so 4.5. We did that, and then again we get the very strange earnings reaction. Didn't lose value, lost some time. Hard to tell. And this is when LMT is going up. BA is doing God knows what. And again, this is all big idea stuff, so it's hard to. There's not really the technical is the range and the levels, and we can sort of do this as well. I was looking at this last night. Throw this in there, right? We're continuing this trend line, right? It's actually it's almost direct, and we're getting into the point where some of these are going to be like this, right? Where you're, see if we can. There you go. See this here? Jesus. Just, there you go. See these wicks through here? This whole range? Maybe turn this bad boy this way. The lows through here, all this. And this is basically the trajectory we've been on. And if you copy this over, you can actually see that we have a top of a range here. You see, it's very, very much within sort of a confine here. We'll see. I know it's hard to see on your guys' screen probably, but yeah, we have higher lows. This is the main factor that we see on all these value charts, is that there's always a higher low. Like, it's the most constant thing. There's a higher low. And as long as that support is there, you can just keep buying it. This is what the X chart looks like. That's why when I looked at this, I was like, oh my God. Right? You look at this. This is the most significant line ever. Look at that thing. Disgusting. And it's, again, this is the main trend line across everything. Look at, you drag this up. This is the exact same. It's the exact same velocity. You can keep drawing this shit through here like we do on the indexes, right? All the same angle, same resistances, right? You start to look at all this and you go, okay, that's it. And that's where I can go, hey guys, go buy this tomorrow. Because it's very confidence sort of inducing. The retail stores are continuing. This is great. This is a very good sign that we're getting economic numbers priced in now. That Monday move was significant, but continuing it is probably more so. Jesus, the top of the list is getting a little crowded. Are we gonna catch up to this target or what? What has been this? Why do we keep seeing this? Huh? This very strange range that we're getting on all of these growth companies, that they lose demand and they just stay flat. And again, upside is the sideways trading is good for upside, except when you have to wait a month. We're not momentum traders. Hard to catch that. Again, transportation as well. Oil is, Jesus. We're really putting some points on oil now. Take what's going on in the crude futures. This is not moving as quickly as we are moving at all. This is sideways trading. we're putting on significant boys. Again, banks and energy are our benchmarks, and what we this here is disgusting. That's disgusting right there. If you're not in this position, sorry, but you should be in this position. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but we know that CVX and XOM took some shots through here. This is again, this is the most straightforward trade that we've had in a while. The CVX trade over here when it gapped down from earnings, and I go, what is that? And we held through all of energy through that move, and then we bought through here. This is. Did we just get? Are we getting the CVX and? Hold on, let me look. I've been talking about this Chevron and Exxon thing for like what, a year now. Are we getting this or what? I I think I brought it up on stream yesterday. The article that we had on Financial Times talking about how much cash they have. Are we just getting? Are we just getting earnings reactions still? Hold on. Wait, do I have FT open here? Facebook upholds Trump suspension. Zuck hates Trump. He controls his life. Poor Trump. So does Jack. What are we getting? I don't have it, and nothing popped up on my thing that said there was news, so I'm looking through FT to see. It's just all the rotation. That. Okay, hold on, premium. No, that's just the BlackRock ESG thing. Ukraine is banking on Uncle Joe. That's a nice title. It's Europe, isn't it? It's just Europe. Europe buying us up. 2 years moving again, which is going to be funny. Let's see what happens there. Well, you love to see it. You love to see it. That's a very nice call there. I think it's a very nice call. Why I say the same thing every day, guys. Just say this. How many charts did I post? I think it was like 30 energy company charts in the last month. I gotta slow down, huh? I mean, again, everything up here is quite literally just oil and gas, which is probably not the best, but I think it is important to note that when you get a bunch of charts all doing the same damn thing, it's probably a pattern. Probably something there. What's the next move coming through here? A bunch of energy being bought. Okay, so I think we found most of the money. We found most of the outflow from yesterday. I think we found most of it. This We're still rotating. You can tell that we're still rotating because you have opposite ends of the spectrum moving. You have it's not just so much it is basically just value and growth, money flowing into value as it outflows from growth. You can see it right now happening like live, but it's not fully. We're gonna need to see, and you want to at least hold that bid from yesterday, right? So if we had gap ups like Apple here, we're up almost 1.5% on Apple, right? You want to at least hold this here across the board. Things like Microsoft were weaker, right? You want to hold this. If it comes down, then the story's changing a little bit. Amazon, probably the best example. Look at that spread there. What the fuck is that? Definitely a continuation day. A continuation from yesterday. There's not really new opportunities unless you added on more. These are not really, you can't go buy much of this. So, again, yesterday was definitely the best day to buy. So we're just going to watch this mega cap move very closely, I think. What we're going to watch for. How much this comes into here. Again, there hasn't been much fight. When we talk about, you can use this, the conversation of the Bulls fighting the Bears live in the market, right? This is no fight. This is the Bears winning and then the Bulls winning. This is the Bears. There's no back and forth, right? That's what the market's been doing for a while. There's no back and forth. One side does something, the other side does something. I mean, it's been pretty clear, at least. See if that might help us read what exactly is gonna happen with megas. Yeah, we're at 10 o'clock. We should be seeing decisions being made. I mean, this is just continuing on the sell side. He's back down to the entry. We'll see if I get stopped out here. Pretty damn close. BA with the rejection. We'll see how this turns into. Not a bad spot. There's actually not much on the sell side. There's actually nothing on the sell side. Bid day. Bid day. Dow is still at the exact same point it started at. We're just here. Let's see if Microsoft can help here. Pull this bad boy down. EA is also. Here we go. Put on your dance shoes, boys. Time to go dancing. Time to play the dance. You got those low positions yesterday. You might be back to the floor. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And again, you're going to have to stop us out. I think that's a very good thing to use right now. You bought anything at Lowe's, and then again, I don't mean Lowe's the store. You bought things at a low, you're going to have to get stopped out. Is this the El Clasico? The New York fake? How many points is this? 0.5%? That would be a classic New York fake. The 0.5%? We're right around the 10 o'clock. Let's see if we get the whip here. We already kind of bought shit yesterday, so I can't go put risk on right now, but I mean, energy is really fucking getting going here, so Mickey says, don't worry, Don. I'll do it for you. Oh, I'm already in, my friend. Don't worry about it. You buying will do it for me for sure. You're helping me out for sure. I'll let you know when I'm selling and you can buy it. You already have the laundry list, McKeezus. It's called the hashtag Unrefusables. Nah. Doesn't sound like fair teamwork. Well, you know, it's usually not, right? If we were actually at a fund right now, I would be the buy side, you would be the sell side, and I'd basically give you the dirty laundry here. Be like, you're gonna have to deal with it. Good luck. Sell this for me, okay? It's now your problem. I bought it, but it's not gonna be my problem because it's your thing now. It's your problem. You're on the sell side. I'm on the buy side. I buy. Hey, I bought shit. Maybe I bought the shit just to dump it on you because I find it funny and I don't like you and I'm gonna make you lose your job because that's literally the dynamic. That's quite literally the dynamic. Teton recalling all treadmills. Does anyone think that this was an overreach? Isn't it just a normal treadmill and you should just stay away from the fucking treadmill if you're an infant and you shouldn't put your head underneath the treadmill? Like, isn't that the thing with all exercise equipment? Is like, oh man, my dumbbell landed on my head. I'm gonna sue you. You better recall this thing because I'm a fucking moron. Oh, I fell off my bike. Better recall it. I'm obese. I think it's a little much. I wonder if we should buy it. Who gives a who cares about the treadmills? Literally, who cares? Biked out of my mind. We don't have a level is the problem. Actually, hold on. I haven't thought about this. Hold on. I haven't looked at this quite correctly. Let me do some handiwork here real quick. Okay. Hold on. This is our angle. What are we at? This would be much lower though. So if we have, this is very nice. What do you got? That's the range. I mean, head and shoulders top, but where? How far? And you can kind of discount a little bit of it. Maybe this is it. We're gonna buy this. Your range. Oh, stop it. Okay, that's gone. What about this here? Fuck me. No. Did we get here? Another 12. Nothing we can use. Nothing. It's a prayer. You're John Bon Jovi in this one. You're gonna have to go live on a prayer. Go buy that one. You get some risk going into earnings. I mean, there's your gamble. A gamble. An interesting. It's interesting. I mean, it looks like it should probably continue to go down. So that trend line, you might be able to get another 12%. Is definitely on the cards. A nice move so far. Doesn't look like there's much. There's, I mean, look at this chasing. Floated. I just wish we could understand this move a little bit more. It's hard to be in a position, but you don't really know why it's moving. You're just kind of sitting there. You don't know what to react to. I mean, we're like 10 basis points from all-time high on the Dow. Okay, but just about everything looks the same, so pretty consistent. Doesn't look like we're getting any surprises. Is still trading on the trend line. Z. Hmm. See? Not an earnings play. Told you. Not an earnings play. back to the entry point. We're equal to the gap up from, I mean, again, not a gap up, but we're equal to the pre-market move, so we're now at square one, right? We open up 40 basis points higher. We lose 40 basis points from the open. I guess it is pretty equal. Pretty straightforward. What do we get from here? Doesn't look like there's much trading so far today. Again, everyone's buying energy. Like, everyone's just buying the really straightforward thing right now. And Europe's doing very well. So again, the difference between Asia's very tech heavy, Europe's all value, and they just trade our junk. It's pretty mellow. Pretty mellow. And kind of shows how yesterday doesn't really, it's not going to really probably amount to much. Because otherwise you would have today, you would have counteracted this move at close very quickly, or, right, if you're going to sell, then you sell. This is reacting to the pre-market action more than anything. That's for sure. That's for sure. So again, need to see something change, of course. Where are we on? Win kind of gave it back to this move here. Still up 2%. Airline, this looks a lot better. I want to see it. Dell. That looks pretty good. Delta's definitely a little bit better. He continues good enough. The average on semis continues here, so even though we have some sort of, again, there's the difference between some of these. There's a little bit of a difference. Nvidia's up 2%. Still has been the most bullish, which is important to note. We've been talking about Nvidia being the most bullish. Again, it's pretty straightforward, obviously, but the comparison between AMD and Nvidia is not even close. But the average right now is up, which is the important part. This is where I talked about the exposure to these. If you're not able to buy all of them, then you're in this situation where, yeah, you bought one and then that's the one that went down, for sure. That's when you're trying to trade a sector. You should be trading the ETF at that point, because if you don't, if every single one of them trades completely differently, you can't just go buy one and go, well, now I'm long on semis, and then your semiconductor went down. You go, oh, well, I'll get them next time. You got me this time, market, just like all the other times. Maybe it's time to buy an ETF. Remove the risk. If your eye is still on that trend line, not a bad thing. iHeart looks like it's going to break out of that range. Oh boy, that's moving really quick. Hold on. Wow. Here is very strange. I think it's actually on the trend line a little bit more than this sideways action. Kind of looks like it might screw up the look a little bit. I think we're really on the trend line. It's not so much that it came through the trend line, it's just been on the trend line. Wonder if that looks a little bit better. Let me see. Nah, it still sticks out a little. DVN continuing oil. CCJ broke through 1928. Jeez. We're going to get going. If that pulls back in and tests that support, let's go. Getting all the, capturing every single bit of that side of the market. Where are we going on? See, when something like NOV, I think I talked about this a little bit coming towards the end of last week. When we break out of sort of the usual velocity that we're trading on through some sort of rally, and then we're trading on a sharper angle, this is where that timing starts to turn from short term into longer as you sort of come back into here. If you're continuing it, then now you're asking another question of like, are we completely changing up the supply here? Are we, how far are we going here? This is where transitioning, you don't really know how you're going to transition this position at all. There's no, you just sit here. There's nothing else to do. Unless you already did it, I mean, you just have to go with it. Because this, I mean, you might get to a point where, again, it's just going to trade flat all the way over here till it gets going again, which means what? You take profit where you think that starts, you have no idea. So these positions are not, these are not easy to manage positions. Even if you're in profit, you can end up losing some of it because you don't know what to do. You have to watch these a little bit closer. Because I don't know really what this whole move is. I don't know. It's more rotation, but how much? How many days, right? All the buying is going to be yesterday and today, or what? Buy coming back. Let's see. Right back to the close from yesterday. Looks like banks are getting ready to move back up again. What are those candles? Okay, we've gotten it before. Okay. We've gotten that before. Somebody's order. Watch the dirty Dow. Get anything new? Did it bring us all the way to bottom? We haven't seen anyone news trade this Taiwan thing yet. We didn't declare to be like, oh yeah, we'll defend Taiwan no matter what. No, if China rolls into Taiwan, we're not doing a damn thing. We're gonna go, we're gonna put some sanctions on you guys. And then not even do that. But we haven't seen that react, and I mean, maybe it's reacting to some of it might be because of the it's already built into the consolidation, but we haven't seen like real news trading about how we're basically, and this is what we've been talking about a little bit of the big idea on the aerospace and defense, like we're pulling out of Afghanistan. We're not fucking around with China. We're not even touching the Taiwan thing now. You know, some of the stuff, Israel's just kind of hanging out, killing Iran nuclear scientists. You know, no big deal. We're going cold. We're not going hot, right? That doesn't mean much for the big boy companies that are looking for that Uncle Sam dollar. But we don't see it. We're not seeing it in the prices, so what is this? Let's see what this is. Commodities are too expensive, so we can't possibly convert to clean energy. They're too expensive. How would we ever do it? Uh-huh. That's a good excuse. We haven't heard that one before. Not. Investors are still not convinced that the governments are serious about reaching their climate goals. You think? You think? Every time a new politician comes in, they wipe out the old agreement, put something else on. It almost is like we're flip-flopping. Like a nice chill day, guys. Chill day. What are the kids doing with the cryptos? Nothing here. We're just dozed out of our mind. Is that it? Can we get Doge on TradingView? I don't think I've ever looked. Take a look at them. Take a look at it. Those are the futures. Wait, is it actually at 65 cents right now? Am I losing my mind? Jesus. Hold on. Where is it? There. Holy shit, it is at 65 cents. Wow. All inflation. And everyone left. Everyone's got done with GameStop to go invest in Doge. Get my Dogecoin. This could only end well. It's going to end very well. Log chart look like. Yikes. Yikes. Up 100% after a week on it. You can definitely make money with it, yeah. As long as you take it out, no, it's like the GME thing, right? We all bought into the GME thing, and you play it smart. You just exit the damn thing once you make some money, and that's it. It's like the market. If the market's trending up, you're crazy not to buy it, right? You'll be able to get out by the time it starts to come down. It's the people that think that you can keep buying it. Of course it's going to come down. Of course. It's just what happens thereafter, right? You get this move here, and then we came back. I mean, some of these things are not... The biggest question here I have on some of this stuff is that, yes, of course it's going to come down here. Like, some of these things are going to come down on cryptos. What exactly happens after? It's look at what happened with equities. And this is where I think that people lose interest, and this is where retail investors are very easy to read. And it's just about what are they moving to next. Retail buys GameStop. They buy all the meme stocks. They pump it up. We get the pump. It sells. And then we're done. And everyone goes, "Oh, time to go do some cryptos." Because it's like having ADHD and you just have to go do the next thing. It's like, okay, well, what's the next thing? You know, like fucking fashion. Retail fashion boys. What's the next thing? What are they going to do next time? They're going to buy corn futures, probably. I'm going to start trading commodities. Buying dumb... Yep. Equities to shit coins to what? You're not a fan of fashion? No, I'm a big fan of fashion. I mean, like, fashion changes every year, right? Or, like, every few weeks. That changes. The retail does the same damn thing, right? They just kind of, okay, next thing. It's their moment, right? It's their moment. They got the Robinhood app. Every time Robinhood puts something new on the app, they can buy something new. I think the next thing is, again, we had like NFTs, that sort of, it's still here, but you know, it's slowing down. Maybe they'll, I don't know. Maybe you can buy slices of houses, slices of real estate. Robinhood announces housing slices. Invest in real estate by buying just a slice of a house with your fellow Robinhood users. Yeah, me and the boys all own a house. All 150 of us. We all bought in for $500. Bought a mortgage. We all got a mortgage. We bought the mortgage. That's what it's going to be. They're going to be buying mortgages. Wait a second. I got to go next interview. I got to go pitch this. Hey guys, listen, I got a great fucking idea. You know all those bad mortgages you want to get rid of? Let me tell you what you should do with that. Fucking sell them to retail in slices. Tranched out of your mind. Hey, Robinhood, listen. I got a great... I mean, people would probably do that. That might be the next meme, is to buy fucking... Think about how much retail talks about the Big Short, and they can't get enough of it. Like, how many retail investors are jerking off to the Big Short right now? Probably 30%. And so, that's the only thing they know. You start throwing triple Bs, tranche words, right? You start to throw this stuff in there, in a picture of fucking what's-his-face, and you're golden, right? That's it. People will buy some mortgage slices. We already, again, institutions already do that with each other, and people are willing to trade that and make a shit ton of money, right? And we still do it. It's still happening. And we do it with all loans. The biggest thing right now are CLOs with auto loans. Auto loans out of their mind. People don't even pay their fucking auto loans. But we still are getting those packaged and have significant assets, right? Start selling that shit to retail. They'll love to buy that shit. Throw them in there, give them the junk. I mean, why not? If if the government is going to allow retail investors to buy complex derivatives through the options market on leveraged securities, then fucking let them buy everything else. Why stop there? Fucking let them put CLOs on Robinhood. You just have to slice it. You literally just have to slice it because again, those costs like we're talking like millions of dollars, right? Some of them you can get some package for like 500 grand, but you're still talking. You start slicing that shit up. Get them onto it. Push it on them. Might have to pitch that. At least as a meme. Except you're not supposed to pitch things anymore. Because then as soon as you pitch it, they go, well, better luck next time. Thanks for the info, though. All right, let's look at a nice lazy day, guys. I like this. From yesterday's volatility, slow down. Looks like a melt lunch. Looks like a nice melt up lunch. Dow come back around. Here, give me one moment. It looks like some bid. And my coffee is melting all over my desk. Condensation out of my mind. All right, all right. Too much change. Same with it. It'll be interesting to see. It's always weird when we get this, where you have one sector that's really moving. Is that going to continue into later? Or again, I talked about this with energy a little bit yesterday, and I just said it with like NOV, for instance. I I kind of want to take some of that, right? Just transition it. There's not an the thing is that you're not going to get to know. So you just need to make the decision based on portfolios and stuff like that. Just start to take the profit, enter new positions with it, not all at once. Just kind of paper it. I think some of this move is calling for that for sure. Hard to tell. Oh well. Breaking my fast today. Eating the old classic Starbucks Southwestern breakfast wrap. Southwest veggie wrap. Got that vaccine yesterday, Don't want to get sick. Here, I'm gonna throw a poll in the chat. SPY all-time high today? Question mark. I'm not gonna do the Dow because the Dow is literally already there. See how I did on this. Nice. FYI, it's only 1% away. It's 1% away from the all-time high. So we only need to do 1%. And if we get 1%, then you're probably going to do more than 1%. So yeah, you're either going or I don't know. I think today's a pretty mellow day. But this thing with the energy thing, it does sometimes lead it. This is where you like you're starting to trade and you go, are these things correlated? If oil's going up, does the market go up? Well, energy's going up right now. %1 away, definitely doable. Yeah. We do 1% on the average. These are all 1% candles. Even this was 1%. And we've been pretty much sideways trading. So all it takes is a mega cap. And again, Apple's already, if you think about it, Apple's already done 1.5% here, but this is quite a bit. Think about it. We're 1% from all-time high, and Apple lost 3.5% yesterday. And it lost all of this, and it's not even at its all-time high yet. What happens when this comes back? Right? A little over 10%. That's called more. This looks good. I really like how this is interacting over here. Obviously, because I bought. Thinking about posting another flag chart on this, but and I mean today looks like it's gonna be. I don't think I need to post, but you are kind of getting another flag breakout right here. This space, the tertiary, we sort of talked about it a little bit, but you get the banks and then you have the tertiary sort of services and different things with credit markets, and they basically just trade the same. Yeah, that's going. That's going another high. You think? Makes you think. Is this going to be our first green candle? Looks like it. Our first green candle in the last 8 days have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 red candles in a row. We're going to finally get a green. Unbelievable. He just says that damn New York fake out. What do you think about yesterday? Did quite a bit more. What are we going to get over here? Moves. She's back to break even. Runs up 0.5%. And this side is so ridiculous. We gotta start going through some of these and see. Okay, DVN. You wait for the high, get rejected on the high, take profit, transition. That's straightforward. We look for the high, rejection, take profit, transition, buy something new. You talk about that. MGY. We continue. We'll let that keep going. MUR, same thing. Both same chart. PLR. A little bit more to it. I would say the high as well. Here TO. This is a very strange chart. Reject on the trend. You have to just let that go. Game. Fucking heck. Right at the highs on it. Everything that has a trend line immediately above it, those are the transition points, but everything else is just in the middle of nowhere. If it starts to take a profit a little bit towards lunch, then I'll probably transition there. Just so I can take all this. We can just take this home. And just, again, just entering a new position, but it doesn't really change much. You're buying more at the money. Doing well on this chart so far. Why PayX? We'll wait for these to get back in the trends. Okay. Have to wait till close, guys. Nothing else. Nothing till close. A lot happened very quickly today. The best day to enter was yesterday. Can't really enter on this pullback here on much. If the only thing to do is chase momentum on energy, which really sucks. If you look at those prices, there's not much to chase. Not much to chase when everyone is fully positioned on the option side. No one's selling them. You have to go pay the market maker price. The boys are doing good. Everyone's very in demand. Big labor shortage. Everyone's doing multiple roles, getting paid for it. What I was talking about, there's quite literally places paying for interviews because there's not enough. There's just no. The labor's out there. It's just not. It's like I'm not qualified for a lot of different things, right? But just due to the access and sort of the crossover on a lot of things, it's it's like even I could go apply for some of these different things and it would work out, right? It's like and they'll pay for interviews and it just there's just not enough. And that's what I was just talking about with when you think of manufacturing, right? And how we have to kick up manufacturing here, we're obviously having a big problem. We're not producing enough, like for semis and all these different things. Who's gonna do it? There's no one. You're gonna hire some Joe Schmo from Indiana, and he's gonna what? I mean, what are you gonna pay him? Like, hard to find labor. Can't hire. Yeah, I don't doubt it. And again, I think it's a lot more than you get to take off work for a year because of COVID, and now you don't want to go to work. Baloney. People want to make money. Yeah, right. I understand this. I understand hospitality, where people don't want to go work in hospitality. I mean, now it's clearing up, right? Now it's clearing up, but I understand why you want to. You're getting paid enough on unemployment not to go work a shitty hospitality job in the service industry, right? Um, but it's again, we're having inflation anyway, so it's not like you're not going to get the wage, right? You have to be, you'd have to be pretty silly not to get a wage increase right now, right? Yeah, exactly. People don't want to work for the same that, which is true, and that's the thing in like rural areas, right? I have friends from like back home that's all they complain about is that when you live in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, right? Your average is like 30,000 a year, 40,000 or something. I mean, I don't know what it is, like 30,000 or something. Yeah, you might as well just stay on the stay on the unemployment. You get the extra whatever amount. And sure, but that's because it's flat across the whole country. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're not willing to pay more than the goddamn unemployment benefit, then no one should work for you anyway, right? Unless it's specifically minimum wage for a reason, but that should still pay enough, right? The reality is that we need to increase wages. Like that's obviously we obviously have a significant wage problem here in this country. It's like I was just reading the thing about uh GM didn't give Culpa the 250 million a year he wanted. He wanted 250 million a year, and then the board went, you know what? It's kind of hard to do that when we are paying some people minimum wage. We're not even up to $15 yet. Maybe we'll hold off on the 250 million a year that would literally pay for all of our employees together. Maybe we'll hold off on that. I think the biggest problem is people moved. you're used to a certain labor market, and then people moved from COVID. You got to incentivize them to come back. Like when they have all those. Remember that? Remember that thing where we thought we were going to have the Dakota pipeline or whatever? And obviously we're not doing it anymore, but they were trying to get people to go move out there. So they built like a whole town, and we're like, we'll literally buy the house for you. You just have to move out here. We'll pay for pay for everything. Just move here and work this job. You got to start doing that more. I think there's some of them like tax incentives and like down payments on house, like certain percent of a down payment and shit like that. You want workers? Tell them, incentivize them to get there. All right, that was pretty good. Put the food in. Okay. See something. IBM. Decent. The workhorse. The Dow workhorse. Not that much on the EV side, huh? Oh, here we go. Let's see. See what clean energy can do for us. And by we, I mean none of us, because no one's buying it. But we'll see what happens. They're pretty down the dumps, but it's a start. Could be the start. I think there's a much longer term thing going on here, so you do have this trend line through here. It's connected. If that's the range, then you get quite the range, like a 50% range. That doesn't help. Can't believe we did 3% on this. I mean, I can believe it, but ridiculous. PS move from yesterday was nice. Let's find some the schedule on some of this politics stuff. Time. I think it is going to be important to get the timing down on some when the policies are coming out. It's get specifics. Bloomberg just reminded me as well. We're very close to possibly, again, possibly getting a new Fed chair because Powell and the vice chair expire in 2022. Biden can elect Powell back, but we're getting very political, extremely political at the Fed. Even from what Powell said in his tenure now, he's been very, he hasn't been like, I would say, you could say in general political, but he's a lot more political than usually the Fed is, right? In the things he said, asking Congress to provide fiscal support, these kind of things are very political, right? That's reaching across the aisle. And so now I wonder if that's enough for Biden to keep Powell, or what the hell are we doing? Who are we getting? What are we doing? And how does that change things? Powell's already been so damn dovish. Like we're not changing anything. Full support all the damn time. Keep printing the money, spend the money, everything. Full support. Like, I mean, how much more progressive or how much more, can you go burr, right? So I wonder what that discussion is like right now and how much markets are going to care. The interesting, I don't know. I think I just read that it says possibly in a few months we'll hear, coming up in the next few months we'll hear what exactly Biden's plan is on that front for the chair. I feel like Powell's probably going to stay, most likely. But maybe not. Maybe not. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. They already changed. I think they already changed the stance, and it doesn't matter who the chair was. That was the whole FOMC voted for it. So it's not like only Powell decided to basically change up and say inflation over 2%, but he's the one that's been speaking. So interesting. I mean, that is the most. Imagine working at the Fed. That's like the most brutal promotion process ever. You work at this. You work at a completely independent, a completely independent government institution that manages this country's money. But you're elected by another elected policymaker. Yet you're not supposed to be, again, it's completely independent. The White House, Congress cannot affect what the Fed does, yet they're the ones that vote for who works at the Fed. So let's be honest, right? But yet we cannot vote for who goes to the Fed, but we vote for the people that do vote for the Fed. But again, that's a little bit you're telling a story and then someone else is telling a story, and it kind of lose a little bit of a. We don't really have much control over what happens. Why I made the joke earlier. Are we just working for the federal government now? We're all just federal employees. We're getting paid paychecks and I basically work for the government. Some of you really work. You guys, some of you work weekly. Some of you are working weekly. And you're giving it back. What are we doing here? Are we getting, what is this? Blink, 3.5, but it's going bid right now. Is it time? Plug? The bottom's at the really, really at the bottom of the pit here. Where's ICLM? Let's take a look. Gross. See? Good thing we didn't take that trade. See? Wow. Hard to even look at these charts. What are you even looking for? Don't know. That's where that clean energy side, that's definitely going to be political. So we need to stay on top of some of the trajectory, some of the policies, and find out the timing so that we can go buy some of that shit when it's time to, because everyone else is waiting. So obviously no one else is buying until it goes through, because we don't really specifically know who's getting the money, and no one's even trying to preempt it now. Fuck it. Show me the money, and then I'll buy it. Kind of sucks. It's actually funny because it actually sucks for those companies because they can't raise capital because their price is fucking tanked. Hard to raise capital when you're down 100% in the last 2 months. And you were up 400, 500% before that. You got no idea of what exactly your worth is. Where is the meme economy right now? What do we got? AMC earnings are tomorrow. And it's at the low end of its range. This is actually a nice buy. Excluding earnings, if we just kind of remove earnings from it, and I think earnings is fine. It's right at the low end of the range. This is pretty nice. Let's take this. This is nice. It's tightening here. Tightening here. Inside day so far. At the low end of a range, right? You get these swings down to this low. It's a bit of a zone, right? It's not one support. It's just a whole zone here. So low end, your higher end. A little bit more of a trend line, top of the range. So this is a pretty nice spot, actually. I didn't really think about. Again, we've had some of these that just takes like a week for it to come back down into the support area. This is a swing trade. That's a nice swing trade. That it may not be May monthly material, but push it a little bit further than that, and that's fine. What do we have on some of the others? Let's see. These are all at the same spot. I don't know if I want GME. GME's not having it, but too much drama over there. AMC, what else we have? Is GoPro in that same range? It is. Aha, see? See how I knew that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought when you look at all these charts? But I didn't look at AMC. I forgot about that. Why don't we take a GoPro and an AMC trade here for the low end of the range going into tomorrow's earnings? I think that's a very smart play. In terms of, it's not too much risk because you're buying at the low end. And you have some earnings coming that there's nothing wrong about any of these earnings, right? There's not like something here that's dramatic. So they don't really matter. I would say earnings is better than 50-50. And then buying on support here at the low end of the range is definitely 70, 80%. So Let's take those two. AMC and G Pro. I think that's a nice. I wasn't actually expecting to get much today here, but I kind of forgot about these. I didn't even really process of them being down here because today really, I mean, yesterday kind of fucked with all the prices, but since today is kind of mellowed out, we can kind of use today and remove yesterday's volatility. Nice. And I don't think there's any. I think you actually want exposure to earnings anyway, right? You should want exposure to earnings. So, getting no, you do not want to buy. Anyone that does buy that, you do not want to be buying earning bet specific contracts. Like people buying weeklies and May monthlies specifically for earnings. You do not want to be buying those. Again, those have already been bought for the earnings. You're buying into supply central. You're not going to gain a dime. You sit there wondering why when the earnings gap up 5%, your contracts are down. Because all of a sudden the volatility's gone. You go, I knew it was an IV crush all along. I googled IV crush and I knew it was going to happen, and it happened to me. Okay, you got it. It was an IV crush. I got you. No, you bought shit contracts. AMC G Pro. Do we have? This is a part of our retail stores. That's not going to happen. No, that's not happening. Nope, nope, nope. No Bed Bath & Beyond. BRM coming back up. I'm going to watch this. And it's part of our retail angle. And we've been doing very well on it. But this last move, obviously, I haven't been able to stick with it. I'd like to get back into that. SDC got punished yesterday. We want to take a chance down here. Cybersecurity incident. Cybersecurity incident that could cost millions. And it lost 19%. The last time we had something like this, where there was a cybersecurity incident, where there could be a possibility of losing millions, I made about 250 in 3 hours on the old Fay trade. I mean big ones. But this looks, I don't actually, fuck me. We should buy that. Isn't it? It's the same setup. It's quite literally the same setup. Fay, cybersecurity incident. Gap down. This is minus 13%. SDC's a 19% gap down. It's the same scenario. I don't know if it's going to be like this, but based on some historical precedents. Didn't even see that. And there's earnings. This is a good range. You just would need it to go back above $10. We need to go back above 10. Which is 13%. Boys. That is a trade right there. There's like 4 people. Hold on. Hold on. What is going on in here? When were these bought? These were bought on the 22nd. And then no one sold until this day. It's not, there's really not that much supply out here. There's very few. It's just the market makers that have the supply that got sold off. There's actually no one really in there. Getting filled. We're getting filled. No, you can't make a market. It's not like you can't really make a market here or anything, because what happened is you got a gap down. So everyone that bought options over here sold them, and so now all the market makers just have them, right? Market makers just have everything. There's not like actual traders or investors actually buying any options. But you wouldn't be able to like squeeze it or something. I just think that this is a situation where there's not even, you don't even know the extent of what's happening. This is like a guess. This is a minus 19% guess. It's a guess. People don't actually know what the value is. So this candle's wrong already. This candle's already completely wrong because no one, it was a cybersecurity incident. And so you minus 19, how do you know how much they have to pay millions of dollars? Is that equal to minus 19% on $1 billion company, which was more than $1 billion company before this this minus gap down? This same thing happened with Faye. And this is when we pulled the trigger on this one. The exact same scenario. The exact same scenario. Cybersecurity event. Oh no. Oh, wait. Yay. Never mind. Just kidding. Just kidding. And then it got really technical really quick. All of a sudden we started getting converging trends and everyone's fucking pushing through it. And I mean, this was insane. I mean, yeah, that was quite something. But that's actually, it's the same setup. It's really the same setup. And you can push it for a week or so on that side. It's very strange. I think it's worth a chance here. If I have to hold it for a week, oh well, I'll just get out of it after a week, or I get stopped out immediately, or earnings blows it up, oh well. I think for the potential upside, you could get a really strange move here where you just come right back. That would be fucking disgusting. You're talking thousands and thousands of percent on the options. They're at fucking like 10 cents. They're literally worthless. That would be thousands of percent in a few days if it changed. If like all of a sudden this is not a thing, which betting on things that are unlikely to happen can sometimes be a good risk, because if it's unlikely to happen, then it's very unlikely that you're going to lose much more from here. So you can just get out of the position, sell it back. This is where the reason why I said that with the supply is that it's not other traders that are holding supply. It's market makers, which means you can always sell it back to them. You buy it here, you sell it back. You don't have to worry about having another buyer. So there's not really, the downside isn't, the only downside is earnings risk. But right now we know earnings is not a risk. So at least in compared to the risk that's already here, like not adding any risk. The volatility is already there. It was already pre-price. That's why that, how do you know that you have a random incident and then you're trying to price it and then everyone just sells immediately and then it opens up? It was pre-market. It wasn't even fucking intraday. It was pre-market. How do you know what what it's cost? You don't. And that's usually why we pull the trigger on things that are selling really quickly, because the spread's just widening and all of a sudden you're losing accuracy really quickly. As soon as you don't have volume and it's just a wide spread, you lose accuracy and no one's right. Everyone's wrong. Not healthy. That's what the boogeymen are here for. This can be interesting. I like that. We got three interesting, I think, interesting setups here, which are a little sneaky. They're pretty sneaky and very different from like our big. We're like trading the most important thing right now, so we can definitely afford the risk. Quick reminder. For those of you not trading energy, you should not be going to buy STC with all your money, or buying AMC, or buying these things. If you're only buying risky trades, it's like if your diet was just eating candy bars, and you go, no, I'm getting my calories. I'm just happen to be eating fucking only, Oreos. What do you mean? Eating plenty. You're eating junk. Now, one of you is going to hit me with that fucking Harvard study that the professor only ate Oreos for a month and he was completely fine. Don't hit me with that. Okay? That's not the point. That was the thing. Yeah, he only ate. There was an Oreos one and a Twinkies one. He only ate Twinkies. He literally only ate Twinkies for a month and he was completely good. There was no problems. A little bit extra sugar, but no problem. He was proving a point that it's literally, or his study was literally to see that if he only ate Twinkies, would he gain weight? And he proved that by just eating less calories, you're not going to gain weight, right? And so he just ate the normal amount of calories that he would intake, even though they were Twinkies, and he didn't gain weight. For a whole month, he ate Twinkies. Didn't gain a pound. If it's the chocolate-covered Twinkies, I'm on board. McDonald's doc was enough for me. Oh yeah, that documentary was oof. But that's where you're eating more calories, right? By the way, how are our Twinks doing? How the Twinks doing here? Twinks in a nice spot. I hate the look at. I hate these charts where this is a good example where it's so hard to read the chart when these prices are so connected and so spread, right? But there's not much price movement. Like the high and the low is the whole spread. Oh god, can't even read it. You just gotta draw some lines under here. There you go. That's your range. I know I drew a pattern on there before, but to really squint your eyes. Have you tried their orange iced cupcakes yet? I have not. I actually don't really eat any of that shit. I'm valued out of my mind. Come on, Ekta. You think I'm eating that shit? You think a value trader like me is eating that junk? Maybe after taking some of these trades. Maybe. Maybe. All right, Dow's all-time high. We're back. Oh boy, here we go. Now, I talked about this yesterday. We didn't really get it yesterday because we just continued to go bid. Where you get that if you get a very strong melt up lunch, it leads into that like 230 take profit into close. Be mindful of that because that can be our transition point for some of these charts. If we do get a melt up lunch here, transition in that 230 area before that take profit would possibly come and buy on that dip into tomorrow. I'm going to be using that for a few things. This idea, again, it's just because we don't know where we would have to do that, so you might as well just do it anyway. Get it over with. Take the money home, be happy with it, fucking buy whatever you want, and go enter the new position, right? Past the high. Oh boy. I don't know how many more points we can put on energy. Or is it still going? Shit doesn't stop. Now this has been really interesting. Anyone has seen this so far? LSCC? This semi? This is a very interesting candle. And again, you're getting it from this. We're seeing us a little bit of this reaction after earnings on some of these things that it shouldn't really matter so much. And it's hard to read this here. Hard to read it. I would really like for our, again, we took this low position yesterday on all of growth. Well, excuse me, mega caps and then semis for growth. I would love for this to be our low. And some of these things are looking pretty good. But hard to tell. Hard to tell. We'll see. The problem is that you get the big boy semis that really are not helping us. Really not helping us. Looks good. If we get this line right here, I'll be happy. Hmm. Such an interesting start to this week, huh? I guess it's Wednesday, but still at the first half. Not there yet. Almost to the midpoint. A lot more volatility than was expected. Are down. I think the takeaway from the last couple weeks, now after seeing sort of the last couple days here, our downside that we're getting is a lot. It's a lot larger than the upside that we get, right? Just look at the wicks, right? When you look at your downside wicks, those low wicks, there's a lot more of this sort of downwards movement that we bounce on because people are willing to buy it still because the bias, right? But there's not much bid there. We don't really get the bid that then pulls back, right? We don't have any of those high wicks. We'll close up there, right? We'll open and close up there if it's going to happen. So what I would like to see from here to finish the week is maybe more bid. And I've talked about this before where you get this long upper shadow, which can be bearish, but there's times like this week that would be bullish. Now this is also, again, it's bullish because people are fucking buying it, but it all of a sudden comes real bearish if it's going down, right? And it's causing lower lows, but it's because we're getting higher lows. I would definitely like to see some bid come in here. Just to finish off the weekend, Friday is definitely going to be, depending on if we're at all-time high or not, going to be pretty wonky. If we're break even with the high, the Friday's going to be insane. Because there's so many different things that need to be bet on, sort of, or like positioned on, that this sort of caused an influx of demand into the value. Now growth's coming back anyway. There's just, again, there's only so much you can buy. More rotations. It doesn't slow down, I don't think. But I would like to see it more on the buy side and not this this downwards movement that causes momentum to the upside. It should be the opposite. If we're going to break out of this, at least we're going to break out. And today could be the start if the Dow just starts to go. And I would say, think about it. Energy is kind of leading this right now. It could certainly be the leader. We always want to trade the leader, so we're trading the leader right now. But it may not be leading us out of here. We don't really know. You would definitely need to see it. I mean, some of this, it's just too much on some of this stuff. I mean, for us not to be putting some points on here. I mean, look at this shit. I mean, it's, yeah, it's pretty fucking bullish. Everything's pretty bullish, huh? Ay, ay, ay. I already did that. It does look like travel wants to climb out. Now, here's a good example of what I was talking about. You get the bid at, see how we got bid on the casinos, right? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where you get this bid from the open into casinos. Yeah, you might draw back here, but that's bid that we've already done, and we've proven that there's buyers up here, so you can keep buying past it, right? And that's the kind of thing, instead of having selling that needs to lead to buying back towards the upside, you go bid, you can pull back because you've already gone bid, and you've already shown there's buyers. And it's more bullish that way, instead of this dip down into, well, I'm a buyer, you're giving me a discount, right? Upside is only going to come from these bid moves. So this should again lead to more upside when you see things like that. That nice upper shadow, long upper shadow. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific to that idea, I think. See if travel gets going here. I'd love to get this travel move again. Love to get it. I think I'm going to be a little bit more sensitive on all of these. So I'm not going to push them. You get a sell day to start, I'll get out of the position immediately. One way or no way. I think for travel at least. It's just too volatile. And again, the rest is just too straightforward. For lunch, again, melt up looks like it's on the menu. It doesn't really matter. We've shown that price can move pretty damn quick. Look at we did 0.5% in the last tick. So 0.5% in the last few minutes. So it doesn't really matter if there's not much gain or loss. It can happen at any point. So I don't have much else to say. Big energy day. Big energy day. I'll see you guys at the close. It's gonna be interesting. This rest of the week is gonna be interesting. Again, we basically have erased the loss. We've erased the loss on the S&P. Dow's at all-time high, and now the Nasdaq is the only thing that needs to catch back up. And this is again, it's a low that you're about 2.5% down from the all-time high, but your mega caps are already the story anyway. Apple's down 10% from the high, so does it really matter? They're all opportunity still. So this is really again where we have the most questions, and if there's going to be weakness, it's going to be from here. So we'll see where this finishes as well. Enjoy your lunch, drink some water, get some exercise, do something. Don't eat Twinkies, Ecto. I'll see you guys at the close. Enjoy.